Ever catch yourself talking to your toaster or zoning out for hours? Rumor has it, those weird quirks might mean you're secretly a genius. These habits seem strange, but science and whispers say otherwise. Curious? Wait till you hit number 5. You'll never see your oddities the same way. Subscribe for more. Talking to yourself. Ever been caught talking to yourself, maybe while walking, cooking, or just sitting alone, and instantly felt awkward? Turns out, that little solo dialogue might be a sign of something brilliant. No joke. Some of the sharpest minds use self-talk as a tool, not a tick. It's like a personal brainstorming session where you play both roles, the thinker and the questioner. This isn't about performing or narrating your day for no reason. It's about processing thoughts more clearly. Think of it like having a co-pilot, except you're both the pilot and the co-pilot. Some even compare it to debugging your brain in real time. And yep, Einstein reportedly did this a lot. So if you're muttering through your to-do list or talking out a problem aloud, you're actually helping your brain organize and solve faster. Kids do it instinctively while learning. Athletes use it to stay focused. Psychologists call it externalized metacognition. We just call it smart thinking out loud. So next time you're caught having a full conversation with yourself in the cereal aisle, own it. Your brain's just multitasking on a genius level. And speaking of emotional brain power, what if that old mug you can't throw away means more than you think? Empathy for objects. Ever apologized to a chair after bumping into it? Or hesitated to toss out an old keychain like it might get its feelings hurt? You're not alone. And no, you're not being silly. It might actually be a sign of high emotional intelligence. There's a term for this, anthropomorphism. It's when we project human emotions onto non-human things. And while it might look quirky from the outside, it reveals something powerful happening on the inside. It shows that your brain naturally builds emotional connections, even with things that don't breathe. This kind of empathy isn't just cute. It's linked to creativity, imagination, and social awareness. You're not just seeing a chair, you're feeling the energy it holds. That mug, it reminds you of late nights and good conversations. Your old car, practically a teammate. It's no coincidence that some of the most emotionally attuned people in the world find it hard to throw away certain objects. Their world feels full of meaning, even in the quietest corners. And if you're feeling deeply connected to things others overlook, just wait. What if that sense of not quite fitting in is actually your greatest advantage? Feeling like an outsider. You're in the room, but you feel like you're watching from the outside. You catch yourself laughing a second too late, or noticing things that no one else seems to see. Maybe you've wondered, why does everything feel slightly off? That feeling isn't a flaw. It might be a signal of a sharp, pattern-seeking mind. People who feel like outsiders often observe more deeply. You're not swept up in the noise. You're studying the structure beneath it. You notice tiny behaviors, unspoken rules, and the hidden architecture of how people interact. It's like you're wearing emotional X-ray glasses. Psychologists call this cultural frame switching, common in people who move between different worlds or who don't quite fit into just one box. It can feel isolating, sure, but it also gives you a perspective others miss completely. You may not always be at the center of the group, but you're often the one who understands the group best. And that edge view, it's not loneliness, it's insight. Still, when your core values get shaken, the emotions can run even deeper. Let's talk about the powerful weight of caring too much about abstract ideas. Emotional investment in abstract concepts. Have you ever been upset, not because of something that happened, but because of something that just didn't make sense? Like fairness, truth, or logic got bent out of shape, and your brain just couldn't let it go? If so, that's not just passion. It's a trait linked to deep thinkers. Smart people often connect emotionally to abstract principles. To them, ideas like honesty, justice, or beauty aren't just topics, they're part of who they are. When those concepts are distorted or dismissed, it feels personal. It's not just wrong, it hurts. This is what some call moral intensity. You don't just believe in truth, you feel it. And when someone twists it, your brain stages an emotional protest, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. That debate you had in your head all night, yeah, that was you defending your core values like a lawyer in a courtroom. It's a heavy way to live, but it also means you stand for something. You're guided by more than opinions. You're driven by conviction. And that conviction shows up in your communication style too, especially in the way you write versus speak. Preferring text over talk. You'll write a message so beautifully worded it could be framed, but ignore 5 phone calls in the process. Sound familiar? You're not avoiding people. You're just wired to process differently. Writing gives space to shape thoughts with care. There's no pressure, no interruptions, no countdown. Just you, your thoughts, and a delete key. That's not just preference, it's strategy. It's how you get your complex ideas out clearly and without rushing. In conversation, things can feel slippery, but on a keyboard, you can pin your thoughts down like puzzle pieces. That's why thinkers, planners, and introverts often prefer writing. It's not hiding, it's building clarity. There's also power in asynchronous communication. You get to decide the tone, timing, and even how much emotion to show. For a mind that loves structure, that's not a luxury. It's essential. And when that structured world breaks, say, from hypocrisy or unfairness, you might just become the unofficial truth teller of the group. Intense reactions to injustice or hypocrisy. Ever felt your jaw tighten when someone cut in line or bent the rules without consequences? That reaction might seem small, but inside, it's a storm. When you care deeply about integrity, seeing others violate it feels like a personal attack. And it's not drama, it's depth. Many intelligent people form layered, nuanced value systems. When those get violated, it's more than an annoyance. It feels like betrayal. That intensity is part of having a high-res moral compass in a blurry world. You don't just see what's wrong, you feel who it hurts. This can turn you into the person who always speaks up, calls it out, or spirals into long rants that start with, "I just don't understand how they can." It might make things socially awkward sometimes, but this emotional alert system is also what drives change. It's the same force behind reform, compassion, and the courage to do what's right when it's hard. And while you're picking up on those moral details, you're also likely picking up emotional signals no one else even notices. Being too sensitive. You walk into a room and immediately know something's off, even if no one said a word. Someone laughs too loudly, a tone shifts, a single emoji in a text feels like a whole paragraph. People may say you're overreacting, but really, you're just reacting first. This sensitivity is actually advanced pattern detection. Your mind picks up emotional microsignals like a radar on high alert. It's not just hearing words, it's reading the silence between them. This level of awareness makes you a fantastic communicator, a deeply thoughtful friend, and someone who always knows when something's really not fine. Of course, it also means your emotional bandwidth fills up faster. You absorb tension like a sponge, even if it's not yours. It can be exhausting, but it's also part of what makes you emotionally intelligent. And when your brain finally gets quiet, that's when something magical happens. Collecting strange obsessions. One day, you're fascinated with cloud formations. Next, you're watching mushroom documentaries like they're action movies. Sound familiar? Welcome to the Deep Dive Club. Highly intelligent people often get consumed by niche topics. It's not enough to skim. They want to know everything. From research rabbit holes to spreadsheet-level obsessions, they dive in with full force. And it's not just for fun, it's how they build understanding. What looks random to others is often part of a broader mental exploration. This curiosity turns trivia into personal treasure maps. You might be the weird fact person in the group, but you're also the one with the freshest insights. Obsessions change, but the hunger stays. And behind that passion, often a system. Making up private systems. Ever glanced at your notes and thought, this makes perfect sense, but only to me? Or maybe your planner looks like a mix between a treasure map and an FBI evidence board. If so, you're not chaotic. You're probably way more organized than you think. You just happen to speak your own visual language. Highly intelligent people often build their own systems for organizing life. And not because they enjoy being complicated, but because the typical ones just don't fit. Instead of using apps or techniques that everyone swears by, they invent their own tools, their own logic, their own structure, because their brains don't always follow the usual pathways. And honestly, that's where the magic begins. Let's be clear, this isn't just color coding for fun. This is deep structural thinking in action. You're not just writing things down, you're mapping ideas, translating abstract thoughts into a format your mind understands. Whether that's through sticky notes, highlighters, strange acronyms, or flowcharts that look like alien language, every part of your system has a role. Here's the cool part. These custom systems are often more efficient than the conventional ones. They just look messy to everyone else. Take, for example, someone who organizes their week using emojis, mood tags, and daily themes instead of time blocks. It might confuse their coworkers, but to them, it's like opening a GPS for their brain. Or imagine someone whose idea of planning is drawing a giant mental map across their whiteboard, with doodles, metaphors, and all. Again, not standard, but incredibly effective. These systems often emerge from necessity. When your brain moves quickly or holds on to lots of information, standard tools feel clunky. You're not trying to be extra, you're building what works, even if it means layering 3 calendars, 10 tabs, and a sticky note wall that rivals a detective's murder board. And yes, from the outside, it may look like you're overdoing it. But here's the thing, brilliance rarely looks neat in real time. It's often wild, unpredictable, and personal. People with structural intelligence don't just react to the world, they reshape it. They see the patterns, spot the inefficiencies, and instinctively want to optimize. Not to show off, not for praise, but because that's how their minds make sense of things. It's how they stay grounded in a world that often feels overwhelming. What's especially beautiful is that these private systems aren't always meant to last. Some get reinvented weekly, others evolve into lifelong rituals. Some exist only for one project, just long enough to get from start to finish in the most satisfying way possible. You might find this in creative minds who organize storyboards by mood instead of plot points, or engineers who sketch mechanical ideas using metaphors from nature, or students who use songs, colors, and even scents to categorize study material. These aren't quirks, these are high-level adaptations. And here's something many people don't talk about. These systems often offer emotional comfort too. They create a sense of control, safety, and familiarity in a fast-moving world. They give you something to rely on, your own logic, your own methods, when everything else feels scattered. There's also a deep sense of ownership that comes with it. You didn't borrow this from a productivity blog. You built it yourself. It works because it's yours. So if you've ever second-guessed your complicated note system or been teased for having too many whiteboards or tools, don't. That's not disorganization. That's innovation. You're just customizing life to better match your brain's blueprint. And honestly, that's what smart thinking looks like in practice. It's not about following a perfect system. It's about making one that works for you. So whether your ideas live in a beautifully chaotic Notion dashboard, a bullet journal coated with stickers, or even napkins and voice memos scattered across your desk, own it. That's your intelligence expressing itself in structure. Your system may look strange, but it's your masterpiece in disguise. If any of these habits hit close to home, take a second and breathe this in. Your weird isn't weird at all. It's intelligent, unique, and often beautiful. You're not broken, awkward, or too much. You're tuned differently, maybe even brilliantly. Let's celebrate that. Drop a comment below. Which one of these habits do you relate to most? Or is there a strange quirk you've always had that now feels a little more genius? And if this video made you feel seen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around. Our next video breaks down why overthinking might just be your brain's greatest strength. See you there.